Good morning, everyone, and it is a Thursday. Sometimes I get confused now. Sometimes the days blur together when you're coding every single day. Okay, today what I'm working on is a continuation of yesterday's. I'm setting up different hooks for plugins so that you can insert with one simple line menu options and menus and forms and stuff into different places in my code, especially around the admin section. So today, one of the things I've done is we had a page that was PHP that laid out all the different sections of the admin menu, and I think I need to convert that into a function under PHP so that we can just call it and put it where we need it, because the more I use this particular function, the less it needs to be an HTML page. So there's more coding parts of it than there are regular parts now. But we can dynamically create that, actually eliminate one of these pages and bring it into, wrap it up into one of the coded pages that we have already going on the site. Another thing that you're going to notice today is somebody called me out on being an old school programmer and switched the background from white to a dark theme now. So I've been doing it on my computer. I did it on my cell phone. And today I played around with some of the colors and I got it, I think, where I can at least use it. And I'll probably tweak it some more from here on out. But currently I have it where I am working on putting it into a darker theme. So you can tell me what you think or give me some feedback on that as we go. But I appreciate you being here, and let's get started. So, boom, as you can see, code, it's in black background with different things. I tried to make the color scheme where the green is the HTML and yellow are the values, and then everything else or different colors are the PHP, because I really want the PHP to stand out from the other code. Just so that there's some type of way to very quickly identify where PHP is inserted in the rest of the code. So I attempted to do that, and the other thing is, though, because I did that, some of these things, when you highlight them, I know, a green on a light blue-green background, not very easy to see, so there's going to be some adjustments that I need to do along the way. But the problem is, when you highlight something, it's usually the item, and notice how they kind of switch colors. Yeah, I'm going to have to play around with those because of what the colors are, making sure that we can see different things. But we'll get there. I'm not completely pleased with where it is currently on the settings, so I may adjust it as I go. But as you can see, we can see that the red shows where there's PHP tags. I have some different colors for the PHP code. Yeah, like I said, I'll be tweaking all this stuff because right now, it's not ideal yet. Some of this stuff is easier to see than others, especially when it gets highlighted. And since while we're coding, we do a lot of highlighting, yeah, it makes sense to tweak it some more. Okay. Let's see here. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Another fun little tidbit is yesterday I did a speed test on the computer. First of all, I found out that there was a couple little issues with the speed test. Every once in a while it'd fail, and it turns out that my firewall was still enacting with some of the streaming type technologies. So I played around with the firewall settings, and I think I've got it working better because I was able to do quite a few stream tests without problems. So I think that was some of the things. What had happened was Windows Update killed my firewall settings, took out OBS and all the other stuff, which obviously I've been using every single day. So about less than a week ago, that happened, and I think I've been slowly getting settings back in place ever since then. Okay. So let's jump in. What I have is this. Under the core, we have some different functions. One of them in particular is this init the session page. Now you can see when I'm doing PHP here, and I've got it's kind of really separates the different pieces. So I'm trying to, yeah, we'll see if I like these colors or not. It looks like you can see them okay. They look like they're projecting okay on the screen. I know certain colors are hard for other people to see, so you can always tell me, okay, tweak that color, whichever one it is, and we'll see if we can't make it where everybody can see it well and I can read it okay. But in the meantime, let's see if I scroll down this page a little bit. We have a section down here where we're working with stuff. We set which scripts we load. We told it which main elements. So loading the main elements of the page and load hidden fields, which we use a lot in our background stuff. And then we have full page forms for admin. And I'm going to be creating another function after that. And we have add full page form. Okay. We're borderlining on some stuff here. That's all fine. I'm going to do two things. The first thing I'm going to do is we're going to add one that actually creates this admin menu. And it will be, oops. Oh, sorry, that's the JavaScript page. That's not the one I meant to hit. Okay, let me move this one all the way up here to the front of the class. Try to put them in an order where I'll be going back and forth. Okay, this particular page, the whole admin menu is created, but all these sections here are technically going to be dynamically created in the future. That way we can tell it a menu item and tell it which piece it's going to be, and it'll just fill in the gaps of how these work. The other part is this back button is pretty persistent on every one of these form pages, so I need to be able to define a way to, well, make it as easy as possible to do the back button. We'll mess around with that because technically after the back button, and if we have a, like here, this one has a cancel button, most of these do not have more than a couple lines of code in the form. There are some that do an includes page, like the mold form. That one's huge, but it's all in the include page, so I don't necessarily need all these pieces in here. So let me look at crunching this down into a variable, putting things where they need to be, and see if we can't simplify adding the new ones to this. But we're going to see about moving this whole page into code on this page to be returned as a function. After I do all that, here's the other part. This function is used by when you browse the site and when you do admin. And clearly, this is an admin function. And if we look up the page, the full page data, this is only called from full page form. That's a balance. That's could be from both pages, so I got to kind of keep that in mind. Currently, it's only being used by one. We may make a different version of it for if we need something from the other side. I think I'm going to move that one to where it's only from admin. We have this section here that only gets loaded for admin. We have admin CSS data. We have admin JavaScripts. All these parts really don't need to be in the core file that runs when we're running on the other part. Hey, welcome. Yeah, basically do a lot of PHP, do a lot of JavaScript, and also, wrote this whole CMS for 3D, working on 3D websites, where we're making it like the WordPress of 3D games, so that you can drag and drop and actually put in different items from communities, which are scenes, buildings, which are either areas within a scene, or it could be a building, physical building, and things which are your furniture, your cars, your avatars, your trees, everything else that you would be adding to a scene. And by breaking them down into those three parts, we've simplified the creation of 3D games. Because somebody, let's say you're a developer and you want to do, well, it's actually different in a few ways. One of them is the buildings themselves. I've dropped my code out there open source, and you can actually host a building, and then it can be in a scene on a different server. So it technically is 3D browsing, which is a little bit, which is different, but also it's, I can see why you'd say Second Life. A lot of people have mentioned that, and it's because of the interaction that we can do. It's multiplayer, so it does have, you can have multiple people in a scene, and you can click on them and talk, and that kind of stuff already. But it's kind of like having the framework out there, and then we can actually put the different people or different things into the scenes. So like if I built a building that's a 3D shopping store, you can drop it into many different scenes. And you can actually work in your 3D shopping store if you're the store owner or whatever. And as people walk into your store, you'd be able to talk to the different people and communicate with them, help them find things, help them buy things. But it's all way of incorporating games and 3D shopping all into one. Let's say you're great at making cars. Well, you can make cars as a plugin, drop it right into here, and you'd be able to, with the plugin, anybody that loads the plugin would automatically be able to use cars in their scenes. So it's stuff like that where we can completely compartmentalize the creation of games. So if let's say you want to make a paintball game, you could write the code that does the paintball, and it works whenever you attach it to a building or a community or whatever it is. You turn it on, and now when you go into that community or you walk into that building, now you have a paintball game functionality, and you can totally take advantage of it and play it. So yes, exactly. In fact, here's the thing. We even have VR where you can change any scene that you've created, because it is done in Babylon.js, which supports VR. So you can actually split it into 3D. You can do VR headsets, and there's also a whole bunch of them that I haven't added in here. I've only added the generic one so far, but they actually have about 8 or 10 different fine-tuned settings for specific VR headsets. So we can add one that's a camera specifically for the Oculus, or whichever version that you use. So we do have that options where I'm basically extending out what Babylon has natively, and by making it this way, you can create plugins that use Babylon code directly and drop it right into a scene. So we're extending what Babylon did, brought it out there. Now, below your screen there where I'm streaming, I do have a link, goes to the GitHub page. You can even download the code for the whole 3D CMS that I've created. But there's, this is like an admin mode, and then of course it's a lighter version when you actually just browse a site. So if I'm building over here, I can actually walk over here and say, oh, this is my community, I'm gonna edit this community, and I wanna add something in here, and the second you add it, it's there. You can move it around, you can basically, change the size, shapes, you can rotate things, you can set the different colors just by clicking, the top colors, the side colors, the sunspots. You can also say, oh no, I want a texture, and you can mix between the colors and the textures, so it will take on the texture and the color. You can change the texture. I have a lot of functionality in here so that you can tell it what you want to use as a texture, and it puts it right on the box. And like I said, you can mix colors and textures, so it gives us kind of an unlimited version of the textures. We have additional functionality. I'm sorry, PBR. My mind went blank when you typed that. But basically, we can do all kinds of things like set the scaling of the graphics on it. We can offset it, do everything. Actually, it is using Babylon. So the rendering is all happening with WebGL. It's all Babylon engine. And I'm basically just using the Babylon engine, and I told it what to do, and I wrote the CMS to be able to work with different things in your scenes. So anytime you have something there, if you right click it, now you've selected it, and you can actually go in, make changes to it, or whatever you want to do. Looks like I'm not resetting my colors when it loads up in the editor. That's fine. But there's so it just basically gives us a lot of stuff that we can do with the scenes, working with them. Yeah, so basically I'm just using Babylon, and I'm using my own layer on top of it to picture this. One of the key parts of what I've done is that we actually created these areas around different things. So like if I put a building in this area over here, what happens is there are invisible shapes around it, and when your character walks inside it, it tells it to go out on the internet, find the source, and bring back the code, and then render the building. So what's happening is it actually is 3D browsing. As you move, it actually kicks off those type of things. Thank you, I appreciate it. And you know something, I've been working on it for a number of years. I was a webmaster of the county of San Bernardino, so I have a strong background in web, and basically I came up with the idea one night, and I've been working at it ever since to get it to work. And it's you know, it's a viable product now, and I just need to create some really cool demos to show off what it does. But basically, by creating the plugin functionality, which is what I've been doing for about the last month now, I'm allowing you to actually have hooks where you can drop menu items into the menus, where you can set things into the code, where you can tell it to run into the render loop of the Babylon, if you know, all these different places of where you would want to put code. I'm setting it up so that as a programmer, you can actually create plugins that do just that. So it's actually pretty cool on that side of things. Also, just so you know, if you are a coder or something, or even if you're not, if you follow me, then basically we also, if you haven't already, but basically what happens is if you need something in the future, you got a higher priority with me, because the people that follow me earliest are the ones that I'm going to pay the most attention to. So early adopters are going to be the ones that get a lot of stuff. Yeah. Yes, I took the approach of extremely exposing what you would need. So basically, if I didn't do it yet, you have full activity in the Babylon functionality right from the plugins. I'm setting it up right now. You can already load scripts directly in your plugins. You can tell it, hey, load this JavaScript, and then we have different ways that you can activate things. I'm putting different event colors so that on a click you can have it do something. You can check to see if it's your objects. There's all kinds of stuff I've included to allow it to tie in and do stuff. Shader editor or something I'd be able to. Awesome. That is awesome, because so far the only shaders I've used, we played around with a couple of them from Babylon directly. Just so you see, in my styles directory, I have a shaders directory, and I'm using their water one right now. I've also played around with some of the others, but right now that's the only one I kind of packaged with it. But we can definitely do some other stuff. That would be really cool to have as a plugin, though. I like where you're heading with that. And you know, I'm looking for people that want to actually dig in on the code, help me, and if they want to make changes or make suggestions and stuff, you know, the more you do that, you know, at the start, of course, I'll review it more, and as you get going, awesome. That's awesome. Hey, I appreciate your background in that. I did a lot of C# when I was working with the county. Did a lot of .NET, VB.NET and C# and did a bunch of stuff, but that's very cool. Didn't do a lot of games with the county, obviously, so I picked that up on my own. But also, my YouTube channel, I put a lot of videos showing off some of the stuff I have created and played around with. I have a test site, 3d.walktheweb.com, and that particular site, let me type that out here. This particular site was my testing ground. So what happened was I have thrown code in there. There's so much stuff in there. I've tried this, I tried that, and I kept on building off of it and doing all this different stuff. You can play around there, but I have to warn you, it's going to be a little laggy because there was so much stuff that I tried. But what I did when I created this open source version was I took a copy of that code and then I stripped it down to the core and moved other things to potential plugins after the fact. So I stripped it down to the core product that actually made everything work. Excuse me. And then that's what I released at the end of September. So we're only 2 weeks into open source here. But if you'd like to be a contributor, if you see anything in that code that you go, oh, hey, we need this to work this way, or I see something that should have done this way, I'm married to the project. I've been working on it for years. Full-time, I've been working on it for about 2 years. But basically, I'm married to the concept. I'm not married to the code. You'll see that I'll go through things and go, hey, I used to use this. Oh, hey, I don't need that anymore. Boom, and I'll delete it like it's nothing. I keep backup copies of code, so if I ever need to roll back or find something, I can. But at the same time, I'm married to the concept and to making it work the best it can, which means the more programmers we get in there that look at things and go, hey, by the way, if you write it this way, it works more efficient, or if you do this, then it works faster, or if you contribute, like you said, where you're doing shaders, and stuff, then awesome. That would be an awesome plugin. The other thing I encourage is you can make plugins that are freemium, just like WordPress does. Give them something for free that shows, hey, this is what I do, this is how it works, and now that you're comfortable with that, if you like to use these advanced options, do a one-time fee or pay for a subscription depending on what you're doing. And you can make money at that too. I encourage that kind of stuff, and people that are doing that, I'm going to also spend a lot of time working with you. If you look at it and say, hey, I need a hook that goes right here in this particular area, I'm going to put it out there, and we're going to get it out in production as fast as possible, because I want to support your needs as well as what I'm trying to do with creating different plugins and stuff. But the concept is we spread this free code out everywhere where anybody can host a 3D site, just as easy as doing WordPress. Here's the basis, you can have a 3D site. Now we have different plugins that let you do different things with it. You want, because like if we leave it to the big stores, and I'm just telling you, this is the way they're heading, then we're going to get in there and we're going to see a Walmart. We're going to see an Amazon, and you're going to walk around those stores and you're going to be able to shop. Okay? But with this, instead of spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to produce that site that they're creating, what this does is it puts it in the hands of all the developers around the world for free. It's a download free source. This is the core. Once you put this on a server, then you can add components to make it your own. But instead of just one big 3D shopping store when you walk into it, the cool part is you can actually have a bunch of mom and pop stores, make like a strip mall, but in between you can have something like, a miniature golf course or a bowling alley or some other things that are game related. So I'm blurring the lines between games and 3D shopping to make it an entertainment area where you go to this community, this city on the internet, creating 3D virtual cities. But it'll be a city that you can walk around and, hey, I want to go walk around this museum and check out what that building is. I'm going to go over to an amusement park and, ride the rides. I'm going to go over to a miniature golf course, play a game. I'm going to do some paintball. Then I'm going to go walk over here and, hey, I want to buy the t-shirt because I like the paintball place and I want to wear the t-shirt. But see, that's the kind of thing that I envision the future of this being. So that's what I'm working towards. And I've done some experimenting and I've tried a couple different things. I'm still working to perfect it, but one of the things I've done is I took WooCommerce online stores that were built underneath WordPress. I created a plugin that allowed them to extend and become a 3D store in a matter of less than 5 minutes. They pick a store design, it automatically has products, and it pulls the products from their WooCommerce store and puts them on the shelves. It also clicks and you use your checkout from your actual online store. It does all these, really cool things, but it basically is a new way of displaying your products and showing them in a 3D rendered world. The thing is, we can customize those. Programmers, web developers, you can create 3D stores that are customized for these clients. I'm opening up a whole new area of making money through plugins for this stuff that will go worldwide. We have people downloading this code all over the world. I mean, it's starting. It's starting. So you can get your plugin to go worldwide just by creating it and letting it work with this code. The next thing is, if you want to custom build buildings, you can take something created in Blender or Maya or any of those others. I use Blender, but create 3D things, including animations. You can export them as Babylon, and they can be loaded directly into these scenes. I've actually created a media library. I have 3D objects, and these are Babylon projects of things I've created in Blender, and some of them have animations. For example, let's see the ceiling fan. Simple animation, it rotates, and I have an onload event that I've set up. I'll edit that just so you can see. You can set the name of the function so that you can call it from other code if you choose. You can set I have it set up so you can say, it's an onload event, or I want to toggle whenever I click it, and it'll toggle on or off based on if you click it. I can make it where it's a mouse over causes it, or things like avatar movements. Anytime I walk, it moves, or whatever. You can do any of these events so far. And you call the name of whatever it is. This was from the Blender project. That's the name of the object in Blender. And I tell it, here's the frames, and it's a loop. And there's even advanced where you can tell it the speed and if you want to play a sound when you do it. I also added an animation end script so that when it completes and you stop it, it can have a script that runs after it's completed. If that's usually if you're doing, instead of a loop, if you're doing a one-time thing, you can tell it what to do when it ends. So a lot of cool stuff. We have sound max distance, you can set, and it is 3D sound, so as you turn in stereo, you will hear it on the different sides. That's all supported by Babylon. It's all part of the Babylon model. So I took advantage of all of Babylon's available code, and I've been writing things like crazy. You can upload your file, you can upload the additional files that go with it, like this particular one had some graphics that are painted on the ceiling fan, and then you end up with that item being able to use it in your scenes. I'm going to select a building here, just to drive this point home and to really show you. Okay, I have a scene here. The other thing I can do is I have a button here where the avatar camera, if I click that, I can release from the avatar, and now I can go design things without having to be standing right next to it. But let's say in here, I decide, I want to put a ceiling fan. I could come in here and edit the building, add a web object, and Babylon file. Select the Babylon file, ceiling fan, select that, and now I'm going to raise it up. And also, it's a little small, so I'm going to double its size in all directions. It's a big room. I'm going to triple it. I can go incremental. It doesn't have to be this big, but I can put it exactly wherever I want it to be. And when I save that, now I don't have it initiating the animation when you load it here yet. I just haven't yet because I just haven't gotten to it in the code. But when I reload the scene now, and I walk over here. Okay, load my avatar. Here he comes. And I do have different animations of how you land into scenes. But when I walk over here, guess what we have? Oh yeah, when you walk up by doors, it automatically opens for you. But there it is. We have a ceiling fan and it's animated. Woo, 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 woo. See, it's that easy. And that ceiling fan was created in Blender. It was created in Blender, and I used bone animation to be able to rotate the fan, told it the animation path, and then, as you can see, dropped it in a scene. Now it works as a working ceiling fan in my scene. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with that. Okay, well, but I'm looking forward to it. Just so you know also, I am not hidden. So anytime you want, you can email me at walktheweb.com. You can send me ideas. You can tell me what you need, everything else. I'm going to put something directly into here at some point that you can make suggestions, and you can make, hey, I need this or whatever. And I'm going to make some type of form in the app itself that lets you make your requests and stuff. So, but as you see, it's not too bad, huh? We're able to create things on the fly. We're able to add in Babylon animation or Blender animations right into our Babylon stuff. You can write native Babylon code, upload, and just put the scripts right into your scenes. So that's the concept. That's the stuff I'm doing. We're making these scenes come to life with different functionality, different pieces. We'll see here. Notice the ceiling fan's out in the middle of nowhere by itself. What I would do is, just for the heck of it, I would add a edit the building, and we could say building block, a cylinder, and line it up to 0, and I believe this was on 8. I just remembered where I set it when I put it there. And if I go above it, and look up a little bit, Okay, I'm probably not aligned with the top. Let me release the avatar. I like being able to move around. Okay, it's not centered, so we can move that over. And we'll move it just a little bit this way. That's more centered in the center of that beam. And I'm going to shrink that down. We'll go 2. And we'll go a little bit higher. And we will lengthen it. I'm going to connect the ceiling fan to the ceiling. Just because we can. Makes more sense. And we're in the ceiling up there. I'm a little off-centered. Okay, we can also do incremental. It doesn't have to be a full spot, so we'll do it just about right there. Okay, and I need it to be a little higher and a little shorter. And a little bit higher. And so as you can see, we can use the CMS to actually create things and put them in place, decide exactly where we need things to be. Oops, let me shorten that. And we're almost there. A little bit higher. And then I want to darken this. We're going to make it look like it belongs as part of this. Tone down the glare. Yeah, we can. Yeah, whatever color we want it to be. Save that cylinder. Now if I right click the ceiling fan, I can move that over a little bit. And let's see, we're going to be about there. Okay, yeah, I'll give you the source. Let's see. You can also type values here. You don't have to scroll it all around if you don't want to. That's all fine. And then we have this. And when I save it, we're good on that. Save that. Okay, so we've attached it to a pole just so it's not lingering out in the middle of anywhere. That's the source right there on GitHub. So as you can see, spent a little bit of time, created different things, played around with it. I let you move your camera around so that you can build things without dragging your avatar with you. It won't trigger doors. So the doors are triggered by where the avatars move. So if you want to test those kind of things or what loads and what doesn't, then you'd have to actually reattach, which is just avatar camera. Now I'm attached to the avatar and I can walk around and notice he opens the door as soon as he walks in that area. The other thing is notice the zones are off. I can turn them on and you can see there's a zone around this door and that's when it triggers opening the door. We have all kinds of things like that. Those are what we call action zones. And we have them right here. You can actually see the lodge front door. We can click on it to edit it and we can resize it or do whatever we want. Tell it when to open, when to close. We can set the axis position of the hinge, the whole bit. We have all these different little functionalities built into the product. Okay, so let's see, moving forward. Okay, so back to the code page, and I'm going to see if I can make some of this code. I think I want to move it into a second class for admin because a lot of these pieces are only being used by the admin code when I need to run this process, and I like to keep the user side of things as light as possible. I don't want to run any more code than I need to. So what I will do is I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to take a copy of an existing class just because it's easier to create a new one from that than it is to do it from scratch. Create this, do that, and first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the functions in it because they're not going to be the ones we're using anyway. Okay, I'm going to leave one for the moment, just for the format of it, but I'm going to take out all the code out of it. Okay. Yeah, just calling it something different just to call it something different. What did I do? Undo. Didn't mean to do that. I tried to copy that. And I'll drop that there. Okay, so we have this piece in place. And now what I'm going to do is everywhere it says that, we're going to change this to WTW admin all by itself. Take off the word menu. Copy, 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 and copy. We're basically just making sure. This is now a WTW admin file. We'll call it part of the functions class. WTW admin, PHP. We'll tell it where to load that in a moment. But basically, this particular class I'm going to use for all those objects that are only used by the admin site, which means we bring them down into here. Notice this is the index page when we're running a page without anything else. This is just the browser, so end user goes to a site, looks at it, works it, can shop, can do all the other stuff. This one I try to streamline to be as quick and fast and smooth as possible all the time. The admin, on the other hand, allows me a little bit of flexibility because I have to load up all the tools for creating sites, all your plugin functionality that you're doing behind the scenes of setting them and doing all the other cool stuff. Okay, and let's see where we're going from here. Okay, with all that, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, now what I have on here is like preload admin. That's when I actually need it loaded because we have the admin menu showing up here. We're grabbing some menu items. Then right here we start doing the admin path, admin data. So what I will do, and the admin needs to be loaded before the plugin because the plugin processes all the hooks and they need to already be in place so that it's loaded first. So on this page, I'm going to tell it to load admin at this level. That takes care of that, and we're going to bring it in before we even do the admin menu. That way we can grab functions that are from there, and we're going to be moving certain things like this CSS, the admin data, the hidden fields and stuff. There's a section of that one, so I'll separate it into a different function just so that we get both pieces. And notice that the admin does everything that the index PHP page does, but it adds more to it. So if you do something in the index page, the way it shows it in the scene and everything else, it inherits all that code and everything else when it does the admin side. So the admin side is everything the index page does plus all the admin functionality. Okay, and now that I have that in place, now I can start going through. I'm going to move this over this way just a bit, just so that I can work with a couple pages next to each other. Okay, so init page, this section here, let's see. The init page, a lot of stuff is going to be happening for both pages, so I don't need to move any of that. Okay, here we go, admin data. We're going to move this function, and CSS admin data, we're going to move that one. So we'll grab those for starters, move them to this function. Actually, I'll ditch that now. And with those in place, what I do is also, when I pop an error, it automatically tells you where the error came from. So this particular one is no longer in WTW init session. It is admin, class WTW admin. So let's get that part out of there. And so it tracks it to the right place. Now with these two functions here, what I need to do is on the admin page, which I thought I dragged over here. Let's see. I drag it to right here. Let's move it right next to the ones I'm working with. Okay, So we have WTW admin, and it now has there's JavaScript admin data, CSS admin data. This one got moved. We're going to move this one, and the other one we're going to move. There's another one, but okay. So we had the JavaScript and that. Let's see. So we have the JavaScripts, and we have this. We're doing some other things. Thanks for stopping in. Also, I want to just warn you, I'm usually on every single day, but this weekend I actually have a special event. I'm volunteering for a wheelchair regatta and helping a bunch of people with wheelchairs take rides on the bay in San Diego. So you're not going to see me for a couple days, but don't worry, Monday I'll be back, and I'm pretty much here every single day otherwise. So don't worry that you don't see me too much this weekend. I'm around a lot. But have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks for following. I appreciate it. Okay, and let's go back to this. So we have these two functions so far, which are load JS admin data and load CSS admin data. We set them on this page. Load admin data and load our CSS admin data and load JS admin data. The next one is, I believe, a couple of these down here. Main elements, page name admin. So I can do load main elements, and then I can break it into a second one where it's only loaded by admin, because there's no reason for us to have it on this page. That's the purpose, is I want to make admin versions of these that will load only when we're loading admin. Just trying to strip it down and make it run as fast as possible. So for now, we'll put this here, and we're going to call it load main elements admin. And it's also in admin class. And in this particular one, I just need this section right here. Everything else is already being loaded by the main one. We'll take that out. We'll put that there. Oops, that's one line. And elements admin. So load main elements. Here we can take this part out now, which shortens that page load time, which is the main piece that I'm working at. And here we have load main elements, and we're going to add a second one underneath it because that was the order it was running. Call this admin. It's the name of our function, and it's on this admin page now. See how easy that was? Okay, there we go. Okay, so another piece there. Save that. And technically, we should be able to run this page. I just want to make sure everything's still loading up properly and working. Let me get my side console log showing. And it didn't do everything. Okay, that's why I did that. Let's find out what it didn't do. Core functions, we got the admin running here right after init session, which would be a complete follow along. I'm guessing down here, check admin, global this, and track page view, check web. Actually, those are all before that, so none of these should be affected by it. Let's find out what the error was. I have a couple places here to look. First one is in the database. I don't think I initialized this today. I tried to make the database black background, and this is as close as I got so far. Just so you know, I tried. People that call me out on the color scheme. Okay, so in WalkTheWeb, we have the, error log. Let's see. No, we do not have anything in the error log. Okay. Next part where we're going to look is... Oops, sorry. Wrong server. And we're going to look on this page, which is the... There we go. We have four T new thing undefined. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, just because I made some changes, I'm going to delete that and refresh the page. I want to see which ones are current. I don't want to decipher between what was something not used and what's happening now. And let's see, is it going to bounce an error here? That's why I did this. Make sure that it triggers an error. Didn't trigger one this time. And no error here, but it clearly did not finish loading the page because we do have issues with loading the page. There it is. Now it's coming through. Hide's not a function. It did not load. Okay. Looks like it didn't load the JavaScript. Did it? Nope, didn't trigger anything there. Let's go back to the page. Didn't do anything there. Okay, let's find out what's going on. Let me make sure we have those pieces in the right place. The admin, we told it to do that and that in the exact same places that they were before. So that shouldn't be a problem on those two. And we just moved and created this one. And it didn't have a problem finding it. So load main elements admin, load main elements admin. That's all good. Oh, wait, we do have WTW admin. Yes, we did that on the page. I know we did. We did it right here. Global. We grabbed the global. We used it 3 different times. Let's check the next place to check, which is dig in on the page and see what actually loaded in the head section. Close off the body. Head section. We have the meta tags, so they loaded. We have JavaScript here. That's the line per line JavaScript, which is fine. And then we have a JavaScript here. So basically, we have the manually set JavaScripts, but we do not have, wait, we have constructor loading. Oh, wait a minute. Let me check here. Wait a minute, but that's... Okay, we'll figure this out. That's all correct. We don't have any problem with that. This particular one was exactly as is, and so was this. The script itself dumps it back to the page and kicks it out. So why is that an issue? Okay, I'm going to go the next stage, which is, oops, open this in admin. Oh, sorry, wrong server. Go to this server, which is where we're running the code. Here, we're going to make sure we're getting a fresh copy of it. IIS reset and delete the current cached versions in IIS. If you do it at the same time you do an IIS reset, then it allows it to release the files and it will work. So now we are running from a refreshed copy and it has to completely rebuild it, which should get us our full version. It did not. Something already went wrong. And inspect. Well, we want to do page source. So I know if we do this and do Control V, I'm capturing my control keys. Let's see, Control what? There we go. And Control U gives us a source view, and what I can see here is that we are not loading. We're not loading our scripts. It did not return anything at that part of the page. So let's find out why. Any new? No new errors. So it didn't error, but it didn't do it. Okay, let's find out why. Get plugin scripts 1, save version. Oh. Get plugin scripts should only happen once. I don't need to load that twice, that's for sure. Let's not run that here. We'll run that from... Oh, wait a minute. We do need to run that. I'm sorry. We are doing one or the other, not both. That is actually fine. Get plugin scripts. That is happening. Global plugins. Oh, it's when it gets called. We're fine. It's already loaded when it's called. Let's put a couple checks in place. Let's find out why this thing didn't load properly. We know that the script is here. Require once. It's all before that. Get all plugins. Okay, so CSS, load metadata. Let me... And that should show up in our code behind. I just want to see that it's actually loading the new page and that it's getting there. Let me refresh that. Oh, it didn't like that. Come on. That's why. Helps if I put quotes around it. That's what I want to echo on the screen. Sorry about that. Thinking ahead. And it's not caching the page. Of course it doesn't like that. Why didn't it like that? Yeah, of course it didn't do that either. Okay, fine, it doesn't like that. Echo. Echo script. Console log. And we're going to just find out here one. Let's see if we're getting there. So from here to here one, we got that far. Let me see what happens in here. Refresh that page, which should give us script console here one. Okay, it did it right here before it loaded the admin styles. Admin styles did get loaded right there. The script here. Why did it do script constructor and then stop? It did script constructor and then stopped. Something's wrong on that level. Script constructor would have been no common canvas. Oh, that one gets loaded elsewhere. Sorry. WTW common did not get loaded. I don't know why it didn't like this. Okay, let's see. Let's make sure that we didn't mess with the names of stuff. Let's just do that just to be sure. It's coming from WTW admin. That's been initiated. That's been set. Don't know why it didn't like loading it. What did I miss? Oh, it's not this anymore. That would be a problem. That will tell us why we're not getting anywhere. WTWDB. Take WTWDB and make that there. And we're going to change that. We're going to make sure we didn't use the word this anywhere else. Is there anywhere else that I used it? This is all fine there. That's the correct use of it. And we will global and do it that way. Okay. Let's try that. And if nothing else, we should get an error written to where we expect it to be. uncut dget. Don't worry about that just yet. That means the script didn't load and it didn't know how to run it. But are we getting closer? Script, no. These are hidden inputs. Why is that not kicking out on the page? Load main elements, that's fine. Okay, so let's start with this one. This one has CS. Okay, this has admin CSS and that. So if you look in the code behind, this one actually came through. It is right. It's actually right here. Those two lines came through. So the function's loaded. The function pulled those pieces and did what it was supposed to. But for some reason, let's go find out why. Okay, there we go. Undefined property, WTW admin version. Oh. Oh, that's what I missed. Now I know. It's not WTW admin version. That would be WTW version. Okay, I know what it is. And why it kicked us out of that part. When I ran this version command, oh, there's another this. That's what I was looking for. And it's actually global WTW to get that part. You know, WTW also has the... We could do WTW on both of these because it has this function in it also. So WTW, then that, error, and WTW. We'll just pull that class because we know that it was loaded right before this anyway. And we know the DB class is loaded also, but that will take care of that. And now let's see, does everything load as we expect it to? I'm thinking yes. Okay, tripped a little bit. Hey, we're back on our feet. Okay. So now that we have that in place, let's get rid of our little here one thing that we called to see if it got that far. Kill that out of there. And back to moving a few other things over that we don't need in this file. There's a section right here. Sorry, wrong one. That's fine. This whole function I don't think is called in any of the core pages. It's all being done from elsewhere, but this section right here are the hidden fields only used from admin. We have certain ones that are used from the front side. Yeah, some of those are questionable, but for now we're leaving them all in there because they are part of the core product. So we're going to do this function and move this one over to the other side, part of it. Copy that, go here, create it, here, change the path there because we want to know what page it came from if there ever pops an error. Also, we add the word admin to the end to know this is the admin version of that. And okay, load hidden fields admin. This particular one does not need any of the stuff that's not admin because we're going to run both of those on the other page. So get rid of those. Go down to here. Notice there's a lot more in admin. That's the reason I don't want to load them when we're not running admin. Okay. I had an if statement, so it wasn't loading it anyway, but now it doesn't even have to process the code, that many lines of code, when it doesn't run admin. So we have this completely isolated as a different section. I believe that part's okay. Do we even need that? No. That was part of the other one. We already have that set. It's not doing that one at all. But I am going to change it to WTW for WalkTheWeb in case you haven't figured that one out yet. And these are WalkTheWeb. And then this is WalkTheWeb. That takes care of those default values that get passed in with that function. Load hidden fields admin. We'll go to this page. We have load hidden fields. And we'll, oops, I didn't mean to cut it. I'm adding one. That's going to be admin and capital admin. And now we've moved that piece to here, and we need to remove it from here. So if we drop that out of there, all the way down to there. So that cleans up that code quite a bit. Notice quite a few less lines of code are wrapped around that little puppy. This full page admin, I don't even think we're using it on our home page yet. So we're going to check that one next. Load full page form right there. If you look on the index page, we don't even run full page form on this page right now. If there becomes a need for it later on, we can put it back on that page. But until then, I don't see any reason because we're not even running it there. We're only running it here. Full page form. I'm going to rename it to admin. And we're going to move it to the admin page. So full page form. We're going to make this purely an admin function because look at all this code we're making it run through when somebody just browses the page. So we will cut that out and move that over to here. And that particular one, full admin form, admin, and we're going to get rid of that, admin, just so we know where it actually came from. And then finally up here, change it to admin, and that's what we did over here, so it's already renamed admin. W2WDB, we've already used that one in here, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that the way it is. It's loaded at the bottom of the page, so there shouldn't be any problem with it using that by this time. But we are going to get rid of this, and full page divs also needs to move here. That's the other this in this terminology. So full page divs was something up here. And we have that right here. Full page divs. Plugin scripts and plugin script functions. Okay, we don't need this on this page because it is only an admin function to use these full page divs. So we're going to put that right there. And now anywhere in the code that references that, find in files, find all. We have a couple of them here. Init session, this one, and full page divs, they're both on the same line. Ooh, that's a horrible color to look at. Okay, I'll have to fix that too. I'm going to move this function also. I knew I would. Okay, that knocks that to there, and let's put this down on the bottom here. And funny enough, it now uses this with full page divs, which means where I change that here, it's actually this with full page divs because it's on this model now. It's part of admin module instead of part of the other pieces. That creates those sections, drops that code in there. Looks good to me. Looks pretty good to me. I know, these color schemes, I still haven't gotten it where I really like it, so I'm going to see what I can do about that. Now, when we add a full page div form, I already know that's going to be, it needs to be updated to be in this particular function and not, oh, that's hard to see. Wow. Okay, I'm going to have to play around with some of these colors because that sucks right there. And those suck right there. Okay, we'll figure it out. Full page form. So add full page form is being used in a couple places. Public function, it is in, boy, I didn't even highlight that anymore. Okay, functions class, admin, and plugins. So in this plugins, we, oops, didn't mean to click there, I meant to click here. In here, instead of WalkTheWeb, it should be admin, and admin, which leads me to believe that has not been loaded when we're doing the class. That is not the only case where that happened. It happened once in this file where I needed to do the includes. Let me see. I'm just checking a couple things here. I don't think I did. Okay, I didn't do the includes here, but when I run this plugin file, I need to make sure certain, oh, that's why. I moved it to, okay, file name to clipboard, find V, and we're looking, finding files, find all here. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have that, and we have, I'm just going through these pieces. It was found in the index page here. Init session. The index page does not need, for that plugin, it's only going to be called by admin. That isn't a problem. This one is by the plugins page. Why are there two? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's fine. And this one, plugin loader. Require once before the plugins. If it's admin, I need to load the other piece also. Plugin loader. I don't have to worry about it here. That function will never come up unless I'm actually in the file. And if that's the case, when I do it in admin, when I run this, it's already been loaded. That's when I'm going to be using it. Okay. The plugins only loading in admin mode. Those pieces only load. I know what I can do. There's a quick answer to this piece. I don't need the plugin loader right now. We didn't change anything in it. Plugins. Okay, so when I run this particular code, and it is right here, all I have to do is check to see if the global is, okay, copy that, and if is set, and then we return this, just like we did on the next one. Return false. That takes care of it because we're only going to run this from certain circumstances, and if we're loading a plugin and they don't load that before, which means, or if they don't call it out that it's only part of admin, I don't want it to run anyway, so this kind of blocks them from running it when they're not actually loading it in the proper sequence or in the proper place. It keeps it from running that particular function, which is perfectly fine because we only want to run that function when we're actually using the page in that mode. And so if they're in admin, then it works. Okay. And now that we have that in place, we can actually reload this, and we should be able to do this without errors. Famous last words, right? Come on, it's taking a while to load it. It was working faster a few minutes ago. Did it load? Did it not? Okay, let's find out. Did we get another error? Oh, syntax expected. What I typed wrong? Let's go back to where I just put that in the code. Plugins. What I do? That's there. Require that. Oh, we missed a parenthesis, which would definitely cause that error. Let's refresh the page. And here we go, loading up. And there we go, we're completely loaded. And to know that that full page forms are working, this loaded it. The dashboard loads it, the updates page loads it. Each one of these used that page, so I know that it did the full page forms. We're good on that one. And finally, the last one here. Let's see, is there any other parts that are used only by admin? I believe we've gotten them all. There may be a single line someplace, but I'm okay with leaving those in place. I wanted the bulk of the admin stuff to only show up on the admin functionality. Like here, we got one little section where, you know, oh, that's all fine. Doop 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 doop. Okay, so these are all the, yeah, we're good to go. We're good to go. That separated them into different pages, and now we have specific ones that are for the admin only, and we've called them up here, 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 and here, and here. So now those are inserted from that. They come from the admin class, and we've created that class. Looks like we got a really cool way to do it, because the cool part is, let me test this. We want to see if everything works if I just browse something from this level. So working on here, we load this page and it's even faster loading because we are not loading it from the other scene. There we are, yes. And we can bring it up in here. We're running in the scene and it's no problem at all. Okay, so that kind of helps on that part of it. We're able to run around in the scene pretty fluid and everything looks good. So we've lightened up our browsing version of it even further. We're going to keep working on that. We're going to keep smoothing it out and we're going to keep speeding things up. That's the whole purpose of this section. But I want to thank you for joining me today. Next I'm going to be working on some more admin menu stuff, but we'll get to that in due time. We're going to keep on converting some of this stuff into some of these functions, classes, eliminate some of the other parts so that they load faster, get the logic on the back end instead of the front end of the, bouncing back and forth in PHP. Every bit of that speeds up the page just a fraction faster, and that's our goal right now. But I want to thank you for joining me, and definitely I appreciate each of you watching. So I hope you have a great day. And I'll be doing the wheelchair regatta this weekend, so I will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, and I'm going to I might try to attempt to poke my head in from the wheelchair regatta if it will stream from my cell phone, but haven't tested any of that yet, so we'll find out in due time. But I want you to have a great day, and we'll see you soon.